and that's true, but if you throw in taxes and benefits, median income is basically flat during that period, so it's certainly nothing to write home about. In general, broad-based inequality grew in the 1980s, eased in the late 1990s during the tech boom, and it's grown again in the aughts. You often hear people congratulate Bill Clinton for presiding over the only period when we saw a reduction in income inequality, and he does deserve some credit for that, but if he's going to take credit for that, he also needs to take credit for a stupendous rise in 1% income share in that same period. And again, this speaks to the point that there are, when you're talking about the growth in income inequality, you're talking about two simultaneous trends, and they don't always track each other. Income inequality is, without a doubt, a global phenomenon, but it's worse in the United States than it is in comparable nations, and that's especially true by the measure of the 1% versus the 99%. We are dead last. Or first, depending on how you look at it. But even though income inequality is a global trend, I think it's important to point out that it is not a universal trend. There are a number of countries, reasonably advanced industrial democracies around the world, where we have seen incomes grow more equal. And that's been especially true in Latin America, which, you know, for many years has been the poster child for income inequality. But Latin America, in general, is moving in the right direction, even as we are moving in the wrong direction. You know, other countries where we're seeing greater equality are Turkey. Greece, I suppose, is not a great example of anything right now, but the incomes are growing more equal there anyway. Chile and Italy, and in my book I actually include on that list France, because the data at the time I wrote the book showed that France had also seen an increase in income equality. But it's a more recent study shows that it's bumped up a bit. So now what you have to say is that there's really no significant net change in France. That's also true in Hungary and Belgium. So this is not, income inequality is not something that apparently has to happen. One argument people make about income inequality is that we don't really need to worry about it because we have so much income mobility in the United States, intergenerational income mobility. And my answer to that is, even if we did, we would still have to worry about income inequality, but we don't even get there because it turns out we don't have very good intergenerational mobility compared to other nations. That's something that has really changed in the United States, and I think people have started to recognize that. It weirdly became an issue in the 2012 primary race. Rick Santorum was talking it up a lot. It's certainly true. I don't think you can blame it on Barack Obama because it's been going on for quite a long time. But it is true that the mobility trend in the United States has not been favorable. And this is called the Great Gatsby curve, so named